Hey guys, how's it going and welcome back. Well, everybody else is doing videos like this, so I figured I'd get into this a little bit. This is my bow setup for hunting starting October 1 for deer season here in Ontario, Canada. I've had deer before, so I like it, and so I'm going to go shoot me one if I can. I only have a buck license because in Ontario we have to enter a draw to get a doe tag, and it's like, I wasn't on time for that. So anyway, whatever. It is what it is. And they're very elusive animals from what I've been hearing about, but there's also ways to draw them out too. And, we're going to do our best anyways. And hopefully we don't eat deer tag soup because that would suck. But anything's possible. Could be out there for the whole season and not get a bloody thing, or could definitely get one. And I'm only covered for one, so that's all I can shoot. And I want the best advantages and odds possible to my favor with my gear. So I've got an HX700N laser rangefinder. I've got an anemometer for checking out temperature and wind directions and wind speeds. And I'm going to try, hopefully, to not have to go back past 35 yards. Now, I know I could easily take a deer at 50 and 60 yards, but the more time that arrow spends up in the air, the faster the chance is that I'm going to have a complete miss because that deer is gone before the arrow gets there. And I got a fairly quiet setup as well, so I shouldn't be spooking the deer too easily at least. So what I've got going here for my bow is I've got a Mathews Mission hammer bow, and I've got it set up for 56 pounds of draw weight. It will go to 70, but I'm at 56 because that's where I'm comfy. So I can sit down or stand up in the blind. And we are hunting from a ground blind, my buddy and I. And anyway, so I've got the Fast Eddie XL 2-pin sight from Spot Hog. I've got it dialed in absolutely dime perfect, yard for yard. I've been testing it even out at the club, and it is working absolutely awesome. And I only use the green pin because the second pin down is kind of pointless. And I know some of you are going to be like, you should have just bought the single pin then. Well, you know what? This was a left-handed one already on the shelf at the store. And who knows how long it would take to get another one in. Probably not very long, but I figured, hey, it's here now. And I put her on layaway, paid it off quick. And then I got some other money together, and I got myself a Hoyt Blackout stabilizer, 8-inch, and the new version kickstand for the bow so that I can put the bow down and it stands up by itself like it is now on the table. I got a True Ball release, and it's a fantastic release. I haven't even had to touch the sensitivity adjustment for the trigger at all. It's absolutely dime perfect right from the get-go. I've got an Octane 5-arrow quiver, Octane whisker biscuit. I do prefer the whisker biscuits because your arrow is not going to drop out on you. Once it's in there, it's secured. You can walk around with a thing an arrow in the bush all you want, and your arrow's staying there. And besides, the only difference in speed between a whisker biscuit and a drop rest is like 1.5 feet per second. And it's kind of like, well, I don't care about losing 1.5 feet per second. It's not going to hurt anything. And I have chronographed the bow with these arrows, and I'm putting out 50 point something pounds of kinetic energy with 400 spine, 400 grain Easton Power Flights that are also 28.5-inch shaft to shaft cut, and I'm a 28-inch draw. And that's how I went with my setup on that. Now, I do have a few extra Power Flights left over. I've broken a few, I've lost a few. Oh man, I'm telling you, setting up that sight hog was a nightmare. But I only lost a few, literally lost them because I shot over top the deer before I got my Spot Hog perfectly dialed in. So it happens, right? And if I find the arrows someday, I'll find them. They're at the club somewhere in the ground. But anyway, I decided to go with the Dead Meat Broadheads. Not just because my shop recommended them, because they're a really good killer broadhead. They make a nice big hole, and being triple blade, they're nice, and they fly like field points. And they literally do. I've got 100 grain field points on my arrows right now. I've used the ballistic match point tips that came with each pack of broadheads, and because you get through to a pack plus a practice tip, and I've tried the tips out. and they're fine. They work absolutely dime on. So my 100 grain broadheads are also going to fly the same way as the ballistic match tip and the field point. So I'm good to go as far as all that goes. And I really love my bow setup, and I've got a chrome load of money tied up in that bow, not even including the arrows. So, or the other accessories, right? But to me, it's worth it. And if I can give myself the highest advantage possible, because I'm not an archery expert, okay? And I wouldn't say I'm a crack shot. I'm becoming one rather rapidly, thanks to the Spot Hog. It helps a lot. But so does practicing a lot in different weather conditions. Now, I don't care about shooting in the rain. That doesn't bother me because we're going to be in a ground blind that's waterproof and rainproof, and it's even good for, like, you know, shooting out in the winter with. So, and it's a see-through, which is even better. I can see out perfect, but nothing can see in. So that's a good advantage for the ground blind part. Anyways, we got permission to hunt on a guy's land from our church, and he's going to let us hunt on his land, which is fantastic too. So this way we don't have to worry about gun hunters and stuff, and which means it's kind of our option at that point if we even want to wear any orange, because we are on private land. So, you know, we can go full out camo if we want to. And I've got all my camo clothes. I've got trail cams. I've got the blind. I've got orange if I do happen to need it for any reason. I mean, I've invested a lot of time, energy, and money into my archery adventure, we'll say, and getting into the hunting aspect of things. I've definitely invested a ton of money, and I'm really hoping it all pays off and I get my deer this year, and it'll be my first ever. So I'm really hoping I don't jump the trigger and stuff, and that I don't panic, you know what I mean? And because I've never done this. I mean, I've shot a lot of squirrels and chipmunks over the years with pellet guns, and I've never missed a shot yet, unless I got a body shot, which that usually just pisses off the squirrel, you know, because I'm using under 500 feet per second air guns. But usually I go for the head shot. But if I land a body shot, yeah, it usually pisses them off. But sometimes you get another chance with a squirrel, though. With a deer, though, you get one shot, basically. And it's a hit or miss, you know. And so I know I'm only going to be wanting to go 35 yards and under, like the majority of hunters, because the more time that arrow is in the air, the more noise it's making, and you spook that deer and you're too far away, you're not even going to hit, period. Or if you do hit, instead of a vital, you might get the gut, and if you get the gut, you just wrecked all your internal meat. I mean, you'll still get good meat, don't get me wrong, but you're not going to be having spare ribs, that's for darn sure, and I love deer ribs. So, you know, I'm really hoping things go well. You know what I mean? I'm really hoping it goes well. But we're going to have to see. And it's getting the buck to come out and to play, you know what I mean? They're a lot more elusive. Does will hang out, they don't care, but bucks tend to stay back a lot. And I've done a lot of studying on the subject. And I've also seen videos of how fast does and bucks move, especially when you spook them. And it's kind of like, well, we need speed, so we need 400 grain to 480 grain tops, and I went with 400, and because to me that was a good balancing point, and my bow loves the 400 spine, 400 grain arrows at 56 pounds of draw, so I'm going to go with what's working for me. I don't care what anybody says or anything about heavy FOC. I mean, I've tried running heavier stuff. You guys know that from my channel. And I got to tell you, man, even those Chinese 527s, they can freaking slow down pretty quick. You know, not the fact that they also run slow as it is, but they slow down even more at a longer range. And I want to keep the speed up and still have energy. And so the advice given from the majority is 4 to 480 tops. So I'm at 400, and and I don't care about running top end arrows because you don't need to, you know. 0.006 is what most guys are using anyways for straightness, and if it's been working for them, it's going to work for me. You know what I mean? I don't need 0.005, 3, or 1, you know, kind of straightness, and I'm not hunting funny animals in Africa, so You know, I don't need like an 80, 100-pound bow set up and shooting at, you know, 100 and some odd yards away and all that garbage. So I'm just hunting a friggin' deer, for crying out loud. But if I want to hunt bear, moose, or elk, even this setup would work fine. I think for elk, though, I'd have to actually add a bit more poundage from what I've been hearing. But for bear, for moose, and for deer, I've got a perfect setup. No problem there. Anyway, it's pretty much about all I really wanted to cover on this video. Is just show you guys my setup for 2024. See how it works. If I get my buck, then it'll be the same setup probably for 2025, other than I might switch down to a 340 spined arrow that's, you know, an extra 27 grains. Because I know right now, as long as I don't touch my bow draw weight, I have 340s here that actually run perfect for the elevation side without changing my spot hog. But the windage, I will have to go one click. I think it's to the left to move it over. It's one of the two anyways. I have to retest, but I found I only had to worry about my windage on the 340s because the 27 grains doesn't affect the POI, but the stiffness of the spine did. But maybe next year I'll use the 340s. We'll see what happens. But in the meantime, this is what I'm going to run. This is what I got. And, you know, we still got some more 3D archery to shoot for you guys before hunting season starts. We got to take the Stinger back out again next time and play around with it some more on that 40-yard pin, make sure it's set, and see what other animals we have down Trail A. And just keep on going with that. And if I do get a deer, you guys are definitely going to find out about it, that's for sure. Or in my case, a buck, which is still a deer, but you know what I mean, right? Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for more stuff. And hey, we'll catch you on the next one. See ya.